a tasting to get through here and don't want to waste too much of anyone's time, but you might have noticed last week that we launched a new Glenturret tasting. I think that's one of the only new ones in the lineup. It should be poured and ready to go tomorrow. I know Harmony and Sammy were starting on that today. Kind of a cool tasting. There's never been in my time in the industry this many expressions of Glenturret available. So fun range. The 25 and 30, I'll be honest, I think our prices are kind of crazy on them, but we're going to try them together. So that's kind of fun. That sort of makes the exercise a little more worthwhile. But Evan, am I wrong? Have we launched anything new? Oh, we got a rum tasting. That's new.
Yeah, that's new. A couple wine tastings in there as well, a gin tasting as well.
Gin?
We've
Yeah.
got
And another intro to whiskey.
we've got a Nerf squeeze ball in a glass tasting
Mhm.
coming up.
Ooh,
That's right.
Yeah.
that'll be
It's like
fun.
it looks like one of those anti-stress balls, but it's the world, so it's kind of ominous at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Mm.
going for the round ice cube look, but that's what the popped out at me. So
Yeah. I don't know that I would want to put that in my glass, even if it had been in my freezer. It just might be a little nerve-wracking. So we got a gin tasting. Yeah, Italian wines and pizza. I think we've launched this already. Berry Brothers, KWM
yeah,
Cask tasting. So
maybe
virtual.
pimp the upcoming mid-month SFWS tasting.
Oh, that's right. Which we have been talking about upping the ante on what we're telling people about it.
Mhm.
Because we haven't given you much to go on yet, other than that these are past releases at better prices than before. It'll be a cool lineup, 7 whiskeys. All the whiskeys I think are going to be at least 25% off of what they were previously, and you get a chance to try them again. And I believe this range was picked by Evan.
Yeah.
So he thinks they're cool. So you'll probably think they're cool as well. Anyway, we won't kill any more time on that. We're just really waiting for a handful of stragglers to join. But yeah. Cadenhead. Tonight's tasting came about partly because just 24 bottles each of 6 whiskeys came into the market, which, you know, not great. Quantities are small because it means they don't, if we sell what we get, which was just a 6 pack of each, that doesn't go very far. And I had people emailing me begging for the Tamdhu 17, which made me think if they want it, other people might want it and not know that they want it. So we put it in the ballot and we kept a bottle back of each for a tasting. And that's how we find ourselves here. And the fact that it's on April 1st is purely a coincidence because it's a Tuesday and we do this every Tuesday. Um, and yeah, I don't know. Should we just dive in or do we need to
Yeah.
wind this up anymore? So we're starting with the blend, the Cadenhead 7 Stars. This is a more recent bottling of the 7 Stars blend. We've seen these before. And I'm just pulling it up on screen here. I don't remember what the deal is with this release. Other than that, it's 46%. It's blended. They don't know the background on this. It was blended previously, some time ago. So the suspicion here is that this could be a rather old whiskey at potentially a very reasonable price because Cadenhead doesn't know, but they're saying the whiskey was blended decades ago. So I think that means we're talking 25 years plus on this, which would make it rather old. Sherried, obviously, but what else do we think about this Cadenhead 7 Stars blend?
Yeah, lots of dried fruits notes right now for me.
Mm-hmm. To me, it really comes across. I mean, it smells like a bit like a blend, like it's got that soft caramel, soft fruit. Like everything about this is kind of soft and rounded. Like it just comes across blended. Harmony?
I agree with you. It to me it has lots of red berry and um, there is a little bit of like kind of mustiness kind of in here
Yeah.
that leads me to, you know, believe you when you say it could be quite a bit older.
Yeah. Yeah, no age statement on it. You know, finished in Oloroso sherry casks. Interestingly, for a finish, like at least on the nose, it doesn't come across as kind of overtly finished. It's not, just thick syrupy layered on top. Getting like a note of like chocolate turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the syrupy side, I was getting a bit of balsamic reduction
Mhm.
on the nose.
Quite syrupy on the palate. Loads of dates, dried fruits, figs, raisins.
Yeah. Very nutty and leathery as
Yeah.
well.
I mean, I think you can kind of see that grain component in there too, that really thin, I don't want to say medicinal, but it's like this kind of thin
Mhm.
and almost slightly industrial note to it.
Yeah, almost going into like a camphor note.
Mm. And dare we say, should we say Ukrainian caramel rather than
Mhm.
um, that other Eastern European form of caramel that people have referred to from time to time? Just
Mhm.
purely for
I
support
think
purposes.
geographically we're allowed to say
Yeah,
it.
well,
That's right.
if we're gonna have a Kiev mule, I think, or a Kiev mule, we can have
Mhm.
Ukrainian caramel, but kind of that whole Slavic Eastern European caramel is what we're
There
referring
we
to.
go.
Yeah, I mean, very approachable, easy drinking. The
Yeah.
interesting thing is that mustiness, that little bit of a sign of something older on the nose. I think it's lost a little bit on the palate just because of that sherry finishing, that kind of dumpy,
Mhm.
layered on top sherry note.
Yeah.
Mhm. There's on the finish, there's almost, it goes into like an orange juice concentrate, like the
Mm,
old, you get it in the frozen can, like just licking the concentrate itself.
little Minute Maid,
Yeah.
Interesting.
only partially thawed.
Yeah.
See, I get like, when you buy a tub of ice cream and it says it's like made with real dairy, but then you taste it and it tastes like chemically formed chocolate ice cream.
Oh,
That's on the finish for me a little bit.
is that the same kind of ice cream that doesn't really melt?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is bizarre.
Yeah,
Um,
it's awful.
yeah. Anyway,
And then he found out made with dairy is the name of the company. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's right.
I can believe it's not dairy in that
Right?
case. Yeah, as Jennifer said, nice little start, easy drinking, good value. Not insanely complex, but also, you know, very drinkable. I'd have no problem quaffing that one back. Which takes us on to our first single malt, the Fettercairn. And also, well, when we poured this out, I was like, oh, this is for sure the palest whiskey in tonight's lineup. But numbers 6 and 8 aren't far off color-wise. Put this up on screen. This was finished in a rum cask, so that might explain why there's not too much color coming from it. Presumably matured in bourbon casks before that. Bottled at 58.4%, sadly sold out. So if you like this, you're just going to have to enjoy what you've got in your glass because that's probably all you're going to get. Um, and well, Jeff has some comments here on ice cream that he just found out this weekend that DQ ice cream cakes are actually made from ice milk. I don't know what ice milk is. I think that's something that I will have to learn more about, but can't say I frequently purchase Dairy Queen ice cream cakes. Might get a slice if like a niece or nephew is having a birthday, but that's about it. Thoughts on this Fettercairn? It's actually got a kind of a fun nose. Now, granted, I'm not at home tonight, so I'm enjoying out of comically large wine glasses tonight, but it's got like a nice sort of jelly bean, jelly belly, fruity note to it on the nose.
But it
Yeah.
it still has like the Fettercairn-ness to it. Like
Mm.
it's got these potato skin notes for me on that.
It's unambiguously fruity.
Yeah. And the rum, at least on the nose, doesn't like hop out for me, personally.
I
No,
mean, no, sorry, how many you go?
no, I was gonna say other than this kind of like desserty banana note, but it's not
Mhm.
overly sweet. There's just this little hint of banana in the background. That's kind of the
Yeah.
only hint that I have that maybe rum was involved.
I
But
was gonna say that, for me, I'm not sure would have known this was a rum finish,
Mhm.
without being told, but it does have this kind of pina colada, like
Mm.
coconut, tropical rum note to it that, now that I know it's there, kind of makes sense. Oh, I really find this nose quite interesting. And again, it might be the glass. There's like a
No,
nice,
it's very good.
there's a nice funkiness to it too.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I like its kind of saltiness that it has. It's really nice.
Oh yeah, the palate on that is lovely. I mean, quite tropical,
Hmm.
sweet. Um, there's a bit of
Yeah.
heat there. But yeah, nice little sort of Caribbean beach dram. We didn't say anything about the range. Just quickly going back to it, and it's kind of fun because 7 of the 8 whiskeys in our lineup tonight all came in this older school Cadenhead bottling, and it's part of the chairman's chairman's stock cast strength collection. So we've never seen these before in Canada. This is the first time we've seen them come through. Jeff appears to be drinking straight pickle juice there, based on the image I'm seeing. Uh, and what's kind of cool when you talk about it, so the late Headley Wright, the former chairman of Cadenhead, famously used to have a ledger, or like several ledgers of whiskeys that he bought over the years. And he didn't always let all his employees, he didn't give them access to all these lists. And the funny thing is, over the years, I mean, going back to when Mark Watt was at Cadenhead, but also more recently Cameron McGeechy, and they'll tell us stories about how, they knew Kate Headley had stocks, but they didn't know where or what because he'd keep multiple ledgers. And some of the casks he owned personally, others were owned by Cadenhead. So I think going back to that chairman stock range, bringing that back and launching it more globally is sort of a tribute to Headley Wright and highlighting the fact that, he would go out and just with his checkbook in the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s and just purchase casks. He would go see his friends, pull out the checkbook and buy casks. And the distilleries, or not the distillery, but Cadenhead's the bottler, wouldn't always know what he had because he would kind of sprinkle it out to them over time. He's like, here, you guys can have this. Um, but nice sort of nutty tones on this now too, like macadamia nuts. Uh, but yeah, very drinkable. I looked at the color on this and in the context of the range you had, so I was like, ooh, is this just going to be like tired old cask, not giving us much? But I think it actually shows really, really well.
Yeah, I quite like it. That sort of nuttiness that comes in at the finish is really
Mhm.
good. It I don't know if I could blind this as Fettercairn just because I haven't had enough Fettercairn still, but it does have notes that I'm looking for in that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really a really good start so far. I'm really enjoying it. Every time I pick it up and knows that I'm getting
Mhm.
something different. It's just evolving really nicely.
Well, I think we can all say that is Kensington style whiskey. It's a little naked, a little spirit driven, and a lot of fun. Can any of you taste the unicorn in it? Being that Fettercairn is like Scotland, their animal or their spirit animal is the unicorn. So probably
Well,
not. But
if the unicorn is crying, maybe the saltiness is tears. I don't
well,
know.
don't we have a beer called Unicorn Farts? Haven't we had that
We
in the
did,
past?
yeah.
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 So I never tried that, but if I would imagine unicorn farts smell something like that. Either that or Care Bear farts, something along those lines. Uh, any other comments on the Fettercairn before we move on to the next one, which is the Dailuaine? Jeff saying Unicorn Fart's not a great beer. So good news. I didn't miss anything. Nope. Evan, you're muted, by the way.
I was just gonna say to Jeff's comment, you get so few chances to eat edible glitter that you just have to take them when you can.
Wow. I remember, I don't know if it was Last Best or somebody else did a beer with glitter. This would be about 5 to 7 years ago. And it was an IPA night that they did at the brewery. And not all, but many craft breweries in Alberta brought their IPAs in. And Last Best, I think, did this Glitter Bomb IPA, and it actually looked like it was raining glitter in the beer. Let's just say the next morning, it was not as fun getting the glitter out. And I think it was some kind of citric acid that they used to create that effect. But it did not agree with a standard beer gut, I guess is what I'm getting at there. But anyway, lots of talk about edible glitter.
Evan, that's not on the bingo card.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
That's right.
that's why the dauber's out. Oh, everybody's
Yeah.
got a bingo card. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing what aneurysms were on there. So
Oh, yes.
It's
There's
got a bit
few.
of everybody.
you
Yeah.
can't share it. Otherwise, I might be tempted to like ruin the bingo experience for people.
Right.
All right,
Well, that's why I didn't tell
Dailuaine.
you about it beforehand. I wanted to see if you would just like completely lose momentum in the tasting at some point if we brought it up.
Oh,
So
there you go. Well, I mean, now that I kind of in a way now wish I hadn't known it was there because who knows? I might change my speech now in order to mix things up a little bit, not sound repetitive. All right, Dailuaine, 2009 vintage from a ruby port pipe. Let's put this up. Vincent's feeling left out. He doesn't know about the bingo card. Were the bingo cards included with the tasting kit?
They
they were in
were
the
in the,
tasting link. Yeah.
Oh,
I'll share it.
yeah.
I'll share it with everybody though. I put it at the bottom just because I assumed that you wouldn't read through the whole thing.
Now we
And I
know.
was proven correct.
and Evan, I mean, also shows that I didn't read through the whole thing either. So
That's right.
there you go. I guess surprise, surprise. Um, I
What
don't
I
think
love
that.
about the card, Evan, is this could take a few tastings to complete.
That's right. That's
All
right.
right. Well,
Yeah.
challenge accepted. Yeah. So 15-year-old Cadenhead or Cadenhead, as some people like to say pedantically, finished in a ruby port pipe, 59.6%. The description re-racked into port cask in 2020. So it spent roughly 4 years in that. I don't know if this is on the bingo card, but I am often skeptical of port casks. So we'll see. I'm seeing people are looking. They're checking it out to see if there's
It is.
something on it.
Look in middle right, everybody. There is
Oh my
essentially that one there.
God.
There might be a close reference. Yeah.
I mean, this
Kidding.
doesn't quite have that pinkish hue that you'd
No,
often
it's
get from a
quite
port pipe.
dark.
Some nice chocolatey tones though, nice fruit tones.
Yeah, big red fruit notes in there.
The chat is on fuego tonight. Um,
Shots fired, Jeff.
yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
Um,
was Kurt strumming a guitar? No one knows if he can play. Was that on the
Yeah.
bingo card as well?
It is. Yeah.
Or just me referencing that?
So
So
line 3, first line.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has got like, I don't know, that like dumpy, kind of soupy, overdone port note on the nose.
It's got a bit of strawberry yogurt, but where they have the strawberry jam at the bottom that you have to mix in. So it's the jam and then the yogurt as well.
it's there's a nice mustiness to it. So I think you can see those nice chocolatey tones coming through, oxidized fruit. This is it's got to either be a refill port pipe or they rinsed it because you're not getting any of those like easy to get out wine tannins, any of those like rougher, more leathery, more tannic tones. It's just really well balanced.
My tongue feels fuzzy drinking this.
Does have a tingle to it.
Yeah, yes.
What have we got? ABV 53.6.
Yeah.
I don't normally like port casts or like I'm 50-50 on them at best, but I think this is a pretty good finish. Like it works really nicely. Kevin Donda's cheese bun notes is an
He's
interesting
lying.
one.
Yeah, he's just trying to blot out another square, that's all.
Oh,
Doesn't count.
boo. Yeah, boo.
No
But I mean,
influencing the game.
but
Yeah.
no, I think I can see in that mustiness, like it's got a bit of a kind of a bready, doughy tone to it.
That's so funny.
So I'm on to you guys now. I'm gonna stop reading the chat because I think people are trying to.
Glass
Yeah,
that Ethan.
someone will attempt to
Boo.
trigger you by saying with one whiskey that it opens up with water.
Mhm,
I know it.
mhm, mhm. I won't take the bait tonight.
Um, yeah.
Uh, chili chocolate, like it's got this nice sort of
Yeah,
combination of spice and dry chocolate, like a flourless chocolate cake.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
yeah, Glossette raisins is a good call, Jennifer. Yeah, it's the port. The port is actually pretty well done on this. Like
mhm,
it's not jarring or going astringent to me. It's still keeping light and fruity.
mm, mhm, mhm. I'm not even gonna comment. I'm just gonna chuckle as I see it come along. See, Kevin, you gotta be careful there. Once I start seeing these prompts, they might not come out, and then you're not gonna be able to dab your card.
Yeah.
Um, it's now I can play the game. Now it's my game. I'm in the driver's seat. I'm the captain now. All right. Uh, should we move on? Should we move on to the Tamdhu?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's move on to the Tamdhu.
So I think this is probably the one that everybody was after before it even came here, based on ratings.
There were Springbank levels of demand for this when we put it in the ballot. Um, and persons did not appreciate why they couldn't have it. But again, just 6 bottles, finished in an Oloroso hogshead beginning in 2021. So 17-year-old Tamdhu. I mean, Tamdhu, I think it's fair to say, has a bit of a following. Cask strength and the price on this. I mean, we're not showing these. I'm going to put it up on screen, but this was $140. I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons why people were really after this, and it's because it was great value. And I hope this is a sign of things to come because if we go back, I know with Cadenhead, we're not going to see what we saw 10 years ago when we were getting like
Mhm.
40-year-olds for even $1,000 from closed distilleries. That era is gone. But if Cadenhead is able to offer 17-year-old whiskeys like this at um, cask strength and at sub $10 a year as an average, like that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big part of it too. There was some big FOMO here. People didn't want to miss out on it. But does it meet expectations? Oh man.
Good
It
nose.
it
It
has
is.
good news. It's on the verge of being overcooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of reminding me of the limited edition and maybe a bit too expensive Tamdhu 18
Mm,
on the nose, where it's got a little bit of creaky wood in the background there, but it's full of
mm.
dried fruits, maybe going a little bit syrupy.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a little bit on the nose of some of those like SMWS Macallans we've seen recently that are
Yeah.
finished in sherry. It's got kind of a nice meaty, dark sherry, leathery chocolate tone to it.
I agree, but I also think that finish like really brightens up as well at the end. Like you're getting some like grilled fruits, um, and like baked fruits that are really interesting. Really good.
That is a really fun palette.
Yeah.
Jennifer's saying Tam don't. Um, if I were not able to get more. Ah, Tam don't would be an interesting distillery name though. I'm not sure how popular it would be.
Yeah, I like this one. It's got tons of fruits. It goes leathery on the palate, but it does stay like really nice and lively, without going into too much of a dumpy territory.
Hmm. It's got a lot of
Mm,
sherry for me.
Yeah,
Just
it does.
it's I don't know. It still has a nice texture, like it's big and bold and coats your mouth, but it's just a little too much sherry for my liking.
yeah, it's yeah, I agree. I think it's a little over the top sherry, but um, it's very drinkable. Um, for the ABV 57.1, I think it doesn't come across too rough or sharp. There's a little bit of heat. Uh, yeah, that's a pretty decent Tamdhu.
I just went
Um,
back to the 7 stars at the beginning there just for kicks, just to compare the two, and it's the 7 stars just has gone full on smoky on the nose after coming from the Tamdhu.
it
It's like
also
butterscotchy.
it
Or
is.
there's
I think that's a whiskey that might really kind of open up as the tasting goes on. Like it seems like it was quite closed
hmm
compared to what it is now. Yeah, I like the Tamdhu. I get why people really like it. I don't know that I would have been desperate to kind of clamoring to get one of these, but it's got that nice sherried Speyside profile, whether it's Macallan, Glenfarclas, Tamdhu. Like I can see why people were after this one.
Yeah.
The price
Should
definitely
we
doesn't
compare
hurt.
it to the Glentauchers?
Mm. And I don't know if we did this in a tasting recently or if it was in reference to something else, but Glentauchers, which has been one of my favorite sort of lesser known distilleries for quite some time, I think doing some digging on it, we've learned that it is undergoing a substantial renovation where they're, I believe, either tripling or almost quadrupling its size.
Oh wow.
Just in time for the whiskey industry to be vastly oversupplied. Um, possibly another thing on the bingo card, but
Yeah.
I'm just guessing.
You were saying that about Glentauchers?
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, the upside of that is we should, as long as they don't shut it down and sell it to somebody else, which always might happen
Hmm.
with that company. But if they are expanding, the upside is we should have independent bottlings of it for years to come.
Trevor's saying the nose is like nibs on this one. I'm assuming he means like, well, I'm sure I'm trying to figure out if that's like a reference to the cherry, like the little chunky cherry ones, or if it's like the black, yeah, red licorice.
Yeah.
Like, or
It's got a
versus
bit of maybe it's just me, but it's got just a touch of lemon pledge on the nose.
Mhm. Well, it is a little vinegary. It's meatier than the Tamdhu for sure.
Oh, man. Chris and Sarah said apple juice on the nose. That comes out on the palate big time.
I've been
I
sick for the last week and it tastes like Hall's candy.
Nice.
And
well,
like
I think
It does,
that's
yeah.
going.
I was I had these like cherry fisherman's friends and the finish is all that. I literally had a moment where I had to check myself and was like, did I have one today? But I didn't. But
Well, I think that's where that red licorice note that
mhm.
Trevor was referring to comes from.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to like this based on the nose. I found the nose, it reminded me of like that Hayden Block vinegar based barbecue sauce. And then when you get to the palate, it's not really similar. I mean, there's quite an incongruity, which I think works really well on the palate. Actually, that vinegar-based barbecue sauce is starting to kick in a little bit.
Mhm. Mm.
But yeah, interesting, a little bit meaty. Some nice fruits in there too. I like the teriyaki, it's not a bad one either.
It's interesting how palate wise, it's a lot sharper and thinner versus the Tamdhu.
Mhm. I think conversely, you could say though, it's also a little brighter and more elevated. Like,
Yeah, I
whereas
would say so.
that Tamdhu was like really dark, leaning more into that syrupy, earthy sherry, whereas this is more like a
Mhm.
tannic, fruity, spicy sherry profile. So
Yeah,
I
I
don't know,
agree.
maybe with the Tamdhu, that's more kind of in that old school vein, whereas this is more comes across a little bit more modern. Okay.
I mean, it is almost 60% too. I mean, I know sometimes 2 points makes a big difference, but sometimes it doesn't. I think comparatively, I feel like the alcohol shows a little bit more.
2.5% actually, Harmony. So like
Well, I mean, there you go. That's what's doing it.
that's that extra
Yeah.
0.5.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll make it to having any left at the end, but if I do, I'm just gonna blend the two and see what happens, because
Mm.
I think that might be something.
Yeah, quite lively, fun. Okay. Glenturret, I believe is next up in the order here. Did a little write-up on that in the last malt messenger, which someone wrote me back saying he didn't think it was long enough. So sorry to that one individual. I'm sure the rest of you probably were grateful that it wasn't longer because, I mean,
Yeah.
attention
Said
spans being what they are.
the first person in the world that said too short didn't read.
Yeah, that would be a good reply. I'd get a kick out
Yeah.
of that. Okay, let me pop this guy up here. Here we go. So 13-year-old Glenturret, refill X bourbon. So this one was not finished. 13 years in straight refill X bourbon. Still 2010. Bottled 2013 or 2014. Put it up on screen. I think this is the one that we managed to somehow get a second case of, and it's still gone. And I think part of the reason for that again is the price. The price on these was phenomenal, and I just wanted to double check that. So with this Glenturret, $123, great price. Hopefully a sign of more to come from our friends at Cadenhead. But what do we think of this straight refill ex bourbon? Our Gelm turrets. That's a sweet typo in there. That sounds like a character from like Game of Thrones. And unless I'm wrong, like right off the bat, like is this that's that peated version of Glenturret? This is Ardmore. This
It is.
isn't Glenturret.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the nose on this. There's that cereal driven smokiness. There's a bit of a spice note that a lot of Glenturret smoky or peated stuff gets to.
Well, and as you might know, if you read my not long enough write up on Glenturret in the last small messenger, fairly long fermentations. Like I think they start at 110 and go from there, if my memory serves. So fairly long fermentations. You're going to get into some of those lactic cheesy tones. And for me, I'm getting like a smoked cheddar tone coming out of this. Harmony's trying to blow the smoke off.
I know. I'm not quite over this cold, and this seems like a lot of whiskey for me right now.
Oh, okay. That's so you got to pace yourself. Lots of water.
Yeah, yeah. But Tom says he's getting like smoky menthol, and Kevin says
Mm.
smoked cheese.
Yeah, that's a really neat palette.
Yeah.
It's kind of like slightly smoky Applejack cereal notes to it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I imagine it's what a wine and cheese party tasted like in the 1970s, back when you could still smoke in public.
Mhm.
So you got that smoke element, the cheese, bad wine, kind of like you know, great like grapes and other fruit lying around. It's
Yeah.
kind of fruity. It's a little bit smoky, but very clean. And I love how like rounded and balanced the palate is. Like there's no rough edges to this.
Yeah, that 1970s, all that was available in Alberta were those straw bottle Chiantis
Mm,
and Hochtaler and Blue Nun,
yeah.
right? So
A
that it was
lot,
a
a
Riesling and
lot of
Chianti
German
tasting.
Riesling.
That's right. And
All
then
right.
it was so terrible that everybody mixed it with ice cubes and Coke.
Mm.
Coca-Cola, probably cocaine if it was the 70s as well, but
So here we
That
go.
was just in the drink.
We've got what appears to be a flex on tonight's tasting, a pair of 13-year-old Glenturrets from Cadenhead, with very different spider graphs on the back. I think, to be fair, Harmony, like this is what Teresa likes to do, right? She'd be all over this.
She would. Yeah.
Although, does that translate with her book or not? I don't know.
Well, the thing is, she compares her own, um, and I find them very interesting because I do find that within her own palette, whether she knows it or not, there's always a signature to her wheels for distillery. She's quite good at making, uh, connecting her dots, so to speak, with her
Cool.
whiskeys. So
Perhaps AI could help her amalgamate all that data.
yeah, perhaps. Yeah. But
so
no, the
with
palate's good on this. The nose I struggled with, just maybe because I'm sick. It's very medicinal. It's very like
Hmm.
rubbery off the bat. Good.
Mhm. With the two Glenturret bottles that Mark's showing there, if I remember correctly, we originally had the wrong information on the site for the one we had. And I had to switch it when I figured out what the ABV was.
Well, I mean, that happens.
Mhm.
I mean, the fact that it got fixed, I mean, that's a bonus. I mean, sometimes there's just not time.
It's Kensington Wine Market, so even the fix had errors, I'm sure. But
Well, the article you generated either on your own or with AI had a typo that Jen pointed out to me earlier today. So
yeah, I know I noticed one afterwards too.
yeah, it happens. I mean, the interesting thing about this Glenturret is that it's, not insanely complex, but it's very drinkable, very easygoing. Despite the peat, I mean, this is I don't know, this is peat for beginners. I think just about anybody could enjoy this, even if they don't think they like smoke.
It kind of reminds me of the slightly smoky component in Compass Box's Orchard House, which I really enjoy, where
Mhm.
it's like a really fruity sort of appley smoke.
Oh man,
Reminds
you
me of
should
green
see that. You
apples.
should see the price of the new Compass boxes down here.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. Anyway, uh, have we said all there is to say about Ruadmore, aka
I think
PM
so.
Glenturret? Okay. All right, we're headed into Evan's wheelhouse next. We're going to Ardmore Town. Uh, let me find it and put it up on the screen. So another 13-year-old, another presumably peated. With these Ardmores, you never know. They could have been matured partially in those ex-Lafroy quarter casks.
Mhm.
All we know here is it was finished for roughly 3 years in PX Sherry Hogshead and bottled at 54.6%.
So nose wise, it's not exactly there, but it's nosing like it's on its way to becoming our G&M Ardmore 25.
Mm.
Uh, it just need a lot more sherry and a lot more time.
The baby
It
brother.
smells.
Yeah,
It smells like hot dogs with ketchup on it. Like I'm
nice.
getting that
That's a good
tomato
note.
note, the meaty
Oh.
note.
But like we're talking like Costco hot dogs, like really
Yeah. Oh
basic.
yeah.
Maybe even
And then
IKEA.
you loaded it up with some onions and maybe some salt and vinegar chips crumpled on there.
Whoa, if this is
That sounds.
IKEA, I think you get a choice of ketchup, mustard, and relish. And then like Swedish berries. That's the only other
That's
option.
right. Yeah. It's ketchup, mustard, relish, or lingonberry
Yeah.
jam.
Oh my God. Sounds
And I
lovely.
think if you're really brave, you can add the surstrumming on there too. Reminds me of those German kind of wafer hazelnut cookies. I'm not sure what
Mhm.
kind of nut they are actually, but they're like hard caramel nuts, jam, and a little bit of chocolate.
Corey says, I thought I was getting a dill note. I could see like this is like the bulk dill, dried dill that you get. Does have a bit of that on the nose for me.
Mhm.
Oh, we had a sausage pun that I missed here. I'm gonna have to dig that up.
The palate is a little bit soapy, and I don't get that a lot on Ardmore. It reminds me of Thrills gum.
I mean, in
Maybe a
some way,
little bit of
this is the
caraway in
least.
there.
In some ways, this is the least young Ardmore I've had.
Big time.
I don't know, someone mentioned an Edredauer reference earlier, but this reminds me of kind of like
Pelican.
sherried Edredauer. No, I was gonna say sherried Edredauer in that 10 to 12 year range. Like even on the
Mhm.
palate, the peat on this is very, very like minuscule. It's very, very light. Um, it's there. It's that ashiness. So I guess yeah, the Balakin's a good call for that. But it just reminds me of if you can take that smoke element out, it just reminds me of some of those 10-year-olds, 10 to 12-year-old like sherried Edredauer.
Jennifer says for her it tastes more like a wine finish than a sherry finish.
Ooh, those are fighting words.
Yeah, the smokiness on this is like going into cigarette ash territory for me.
It actually, that ash is building. It is kind of growing to be more a little bit more Balakan like. Damn. I don't often like young Ardmores, but I don't mind this one at all. It actually holds
Cool.
up fairly well, even
Mhm.
amongst some of those older bottlings that we had in tonight's range.
And for me, I don't like it as much because it's not going as Ardmore as I thought it should.
It's just not challenging enough for people.
That's right.
I think,
Where's the
Evan,
barnyard?
you appreciate a little bit of suffering. You want people
Yeah.
to suffer a little, and and in that find salvation.
Yeah. I'm like Calvin's dad in Calvin and Hobbes. I just feel like everything should build character.
Well, I'm liking this humble, reserved whiskey just the way it is.
I feel like I'm more like like Hobbes than the dad.
Mhm.
Just kind of bouncing from this thing to the next thing.
Yeah.
Well, you're a whiskey slut, Andrew.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's okay. I think we all are.
Yeah, I like that one. Okay, last one before we go into our speed round. This one we have in stock, which is kind of fun. Um, and I think we got all of this. So it's a semi-exclusive release. It's the Enigma 15-year Islay, which got some great reviews. And I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised we still have this, although I think part of that could be the fact that it's a little pricier. And part of that is probably where this came from. I think the speculation is that this is probably Lagavulin. And so what is it? Does it say blended malt? No, it says Islay Single Malt on it. Let me put it up on screen here. Part of Cadenhead's Enigma range. I think this is a good example of, especially when you compare it with the chairman's bottlings we've had tonight, of somehow Cadenhead pricing seems schizophrenic. Like one release, it's like dirt cheap. The next release, it's like double the price.
Mhm.
And you would think a blended malt would probably be, all things being equal, priced below, or sorry, like a mystery single malt would be priced below 17-year-old Tamdhu, but maybe not.
Man,
Anyway,
the palate is so soft on this. When I set the order, I just kind of like looked at the stats for the bottles, what kind of casks they were in, yada yada yada. Hadn't tasted any of them, except for this one actually, and the 7 stars. But this one maybe could have gone before the Ardmore.
mm,
Does this have this again, this wonderful green apple note on the nose for me?
Mhm.
Nicely soft and coastal.
Mhm.
Jennifer says the palate is sweet compared to the nose. Totally agree.
the
Nice
nose is
maltiness in there.
the nose is a little on the naked side. It says filled into bourbon hogsheads in 2008. I mean, I would guess most of those were refill. Like it's just this doesn't come across as really fresh wood.
Yeah.
Um, the one note that I really like in their official tasting note is like chipotle sauce. And it's more on the palate than it is on the nose, but it has this nice kind of mayo, like custom mayo dip
Mhm.
note to it.
It was written after somebody from Cadenhead went to North America for a trip.
Or perhaps, was in Paris for a show
Yeah,
and had fries with mayo.
that's true.
Jennifer
Yeah,
not
this is
digging this.
I love it. It's such a soft Islay dram right now.
This comes across like a really old school Islay whiskey. It reminds me a lot of the old like White Horse blended whiskeys that you used to see. I used to be gifted miniatures of old White Horse blends by friends, and it reminds me like of this very oxidative, uh, old bottle effect blended whiskey. I am shocked that this is 54.8 because it doesn't like the alcohol in this seems to me completely gone. Like it's just very spirity, nice clean smoke. It does come across Lagavulin-esque, but kind of older than the 16. Corey's getting a distinct water note in this.
Distinctly ocean water.
I mean, I could see that if you were talking like in Spain, they love salted water, which you have to really get used to if you're not used to it. Like I got sick trying to keep up with these guys drinking wine, and they weren't drinking regular water. They were drinking a fairly heavily salted form of water that people really love. Jeff, I know you say it sounds gross, but like you kind of have to be there to try it. And it's not gross until later. And when your body's like, how do I get rid of all this salt? Like, why did you put all of this salt in me?
It
Right.
Is
sounds
that
like
salted
something
water? Sorry, go ahead,
I was just
Harmony.
saying salted water just sounds like you shouldn't
It's
be allowed to drink it while drinking. Like it just sounds
yeah.
like a bad health choice. Like,
Yeah, no
Well, but I
kidding.
mean, there's yeah, I think you need salt to help get rid of alcohol.
okay.
But I think the reason they love this water, in particular in Catalonia, is that it's sort of addictive. It's like McDonald's French fries. Like they've got this
Yeah,
secret recipe that makes you want to drink it. But yeah, this just smell to me. It smells and tastes like really old school Lagavulin, very naked, very oxidized. Yeah.
it's cool stuff.
Mhm. It's not everyone's choice, and that's fine. I think the smoke is starting to build more caramel tones. It's getting a little richer.
I think this is in the lineup where it should be. It has a really long finish, and you get that medicinal kind of smoke and oils that just really lingered for me more than the others. I don't know if moving to something else, I don't know, I could work backwards, but would be beneficial to the other whiskeys because it is, I mean, it's very salty.
Mhm. Well, I know this isn't everybody's choice, and I didn't trying to load this up here. I don't think we ever put this on our site, but I think it did get a fairly good score from
Whiskey base.
from Le Surge.
Hmm.
And I think the reason I held off putting it on there is I wanted to make sure that we bought what was left of it before I shared it. And now I am slowly scrolling through his site because for whatever reason the link did not work.
I see they did an April Fool's, which I never thought of. Checking for.
I only just barely skimmed that. I didn't give it a proper once over.
Well, he did a really long one last year, didn't he?
I think this is all Angus is doing.
Oh, I think we got like a 91 point on one of our cognacs just the other day
Oh,
on one of our Cadenhead cognacs from Surge.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm a little behind on things.
Yeah.
So this was from November last year. Mixtures, wine, and secrets. The Cadenhead Enigma 15-year got a 90 from Le Surge.
Wow.
Comments,
Great.
by the way, have you ever tried drizzling pistachio ice cream with a fresh, unadulterated, peated whiskey like this? Do give it a go and report back.
Yeah, that would work.
So anyway,
Ooh.
let's surge like that one. Are we ready to do a speed round here, or
Yeah, I think so.
have we more to say before we get to that point?
I
No, I
think we're
think let's go
ready.
back to the beginning.
Okay, all right.
Mm.
Hopefully the speed round will fill your bingo cards. Or not, because as I've already said, I'm actively working against you to try not to fill the bingo cards. So,
Well, you're gonna have to speed things up then. So
I think once more that gives away a trap or two that might have been laid. Um, so back to that 7 stars blend, it's showing a little better now. Seems to have opened up a little bit. A little oxygen was good for it.
yeah, it's a good dram. I think the ABV is maybe levels maybe a bit lost after the cast strength whiskeys, but still pretty tasty. Nice bit of pineapple and dried mango in there right now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is really nice.
The smoke wasn't really all that perceptible that first time around, but it has kind of come into its own on a little bit. It's still, to me, I think a little bit of an accidental blend. Like I don't think this was made with great care, but it's also not priced like something old that was made with great care and attention either. Also, Sammy, that Calvin and Hobbes cartoon you just showed almost perfectly summarizes an incident that happened to one of my nephews a few days ago. So thanks for sharing that. I'm gonna have to send that to his parents. Uh, all right. Fettercairn, 17 years. It's still the darling. Oh man, it's still nice and fruity. Still a little funky.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got that yeasty edge to it again.
Mhm. Tara and Clay said in a chat to me, it opens up really nice with water.
Hmm. Uh, it
That was impressive how you said that with a straight face, Harmony. That's near Evan levels
was
of dry
almost
humor.
subtle enough, but not quite.
Yeah.
Almost subtle enough.
It's actually true fact was
Yeah.
said.
There's a bit of an applesauce note to this on the palate. Um,
Yep.
it reminds me of going by a Bath and Body Works, where you're just like completely overwhelmed by the scent of like fruited soaps.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you get that sense of, man, I'm not paying for this overpriced. Oh, they're having a sale.
Yeah.
No, it's like, oh, teenage daughters at that time want to buy
Yeah.
some. It's like, all right, here's some money.
No, every time I go there, I'm like, do any of your soaps actually kill bacteria? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for
But they
your
foam nicely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bacteria. All right, I'm on to the Dailuaine, which has got this nice kind of salted caramel meets jelly beans note.
It's gone away from the red fruit a bit and gone more chocolatey for me on the nose.
This was our port cask, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very good for a port cask. I like the nose on that. It is chocolatey. It reminds me of those like malted ice creams you get at the Saddledome.
Still some nice bright fruit notes on the palate though. I probably one of the best port casts I can think I have ever had.
Puffed wheat squares, nice chocolate tones, still fruity. I do like that kind of musty earthiness that comes through on it. So yeah, this is a port cast for me that passed the like test. Oh, you guys, you're gonna have to play this bingo card for a while now. So
I feel like you
That's
looked
right.
at the card though now.
I did not. If there was a way to check this, but like I can tell by the way things are being put into the chat that people are they're waiting, they're hoping.
Yeah.
And
We can maybe full screen it after the vote.
the
Yeah.
flaw in all this was that now that I'm conscious of it, it's going to be much harder to complete. So
Mhm.
Yeah, this is not a bad port cask. Whiskey for sure.
all right, Tamdhu or don't.
The nose is reminding me of a couple Glenrothes refill Gordas that were in the SMWS about 8 or 9 years ago.
But not sulfured.
Not sulfured, just big.
That's
Sammy's now suggesting that I should try to guess everything that's on the bingo card. That's a tall order.
I know because we've said some really cool things tonight. I'm like, oh, I wish that was on the card.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll get creative and I'll make a new one every, like, I don't know, semi-annually, every 6 months or so.
Well, it's funny you guys did this because I know that some of the people in my whiskey club were planning to make a bingo card for one of the people in our club as a joke. I
I've
don't
been
think
saying this for like a year and
I
a
don't think
half
they got
that I
around
wanted
to
to
it.
do one.
Yeah.
It would be so fun to do in store, but it would definitely make the tasting a lot longer than 90 minutes.
Well, and eventually what we can do is we can do an Andrew version and an Evan version and maybe a Kurt version of like a Mad Lib, make your own tasting note as per that person.
I like that Tamdhu. I mean, it's good. I just don't think it's like by far and above the best whiskey in the lineup tonight. So
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Glentauchers.
It's gone a bit whiny.
Kevin saying a sack of pounded assholes for Kurt for his bingo card. I'm not sure that is. I don't recall him saying that very often, but that does sound also at the same time kind of Kurt-esque.
This Glentauchers has gone kind of baby pukey to me.
That's a little sour.
Yeah.
Vincent Pang's wife signed him up for disco bingo.
Oh, that just sounds fun.
Now I'm curious.
There's a link.
Well, it's at the Crack Alley.
Oh, I've seen those. You just get drunk. Try to keep up with the
Yeah.
bingo game.
Oh,
Vincent, it sounds like your wife is trying to take advantage of you.
you should tell
Or
her you're
get him to take advantage of her.
just tell her you're a much cheaper date than that.
That's
So,
right.
That's the back alley. What is it, like $20?
yeah.
$33 actually.
And all the cups are glowing. Yeah. Fun. All right.
I mean,
Glenturret.
the palette is, I think there's more complexity on the palette here than there is with the Tamdhu.
Totally agreed.
I agree the nose has got this little bit acidic tone to it, but I think it really works on the palate. So yeah, I mean although that Tamdhu is a bit more classic and a bit more dumpy, I think this is more balanced. Looking for people's reaction to see if the word dumpy is on their bingo cards.
No, I forgot that one.
Should it
Dumpy
be?
totally should, it should have been like the center square.
Yeah.
The center square is quite wonderful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, Glenturret. Kevin's really trying hard to get a reference to either a cotton or a silk garment,
It's
but
really sad.
neither are forthcoming tonight, I'm afraid.
Mm.
But you know, there might be speak of them again in the not too distant future.
I like this one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's getting better. For
for
sure.
how little oak presence there is on this, it drinks really well. And maybe we're going to see that. We've got that Glenturret tasting coming up. You know, it's a small distillery. We've never seen a lot of it. I mean, Evan, you can like look back at you've almost been with Kensington for a decade now. How many Glenturret, even independent bottlings have we had? Like not very many.
No, and like that most of them have been in the last, I'd say 4 years, and they've mostly been peated.
Yeah. So I think, you know, I'm excited to try them because you know, kind of get the sense that Glenturret is in some ways this hidden gem that we've never paid that much attention to, partly because we never had the opportunity to. So I'm excited to see it. I think someone trying to say that we're getting delayed in the speed rounds. And I can only assume there's at least one reference to that somewhere on the bingo card. So
I don't know, maybe we could
I'm
take a
gonna try
moment
to
and
avoid
discuss
stepping
that.
on landmines. I'm not gonna step on any landmines tonight. So
Just keep
On to
drinking,
the Ardmore.
Andrew. We got this.
well, I'm on my third beer plus the tasting, and I am on
Nice.
vacation. So, shall we on to the what is this? The Ardmore.
So there's I don't have the box anymore. I tossed the box. There's something on this Ardmore that reminds me of do you remember trying in a Japanese whiskey virtual tasting? This would have been like 3 or 4 years ago. The Matsui range. One of them was peated,
Dude.
and it was utterly horrendous.
Yeah, and it was the better of the two Matsuis in that tasting.
It was. Yeah. There's this astringent burnt wood note that was on that Matsui, along with the bit of soapiness that I'm getting on this Ardmore.
Getting a bit of hot dog water on this on the nose.
Yeah, by a campfire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
This Glenturret's available, correct?
The Ardmore?
Oh,
I don't think it
sorry.
is.
So
Sorry.
Sold
Ardmore's
out.
not, but the Glenturret is. Sorry.
Sold out.
No,
All of them.
No.
the only two bottles available are the bookends for tonight's tasting. The Seven
Yeah.
Stars and the Lagavulin are the
Yeah,
only two
the
whiskeys
chairman's
available
line
for
is
purchase.
done
Well,
for this
I
round at
want
least.
to put a
We-
case out, but
Again,
I guess
as the description said, why bother doing a tasting of whiskeys that would otherwise be sold out?
I know. I'm so glad we did though, because I'm going to use this as ammo to do tastings that I want to do in the future.
Oh, okay, all right. We'll talk. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole idea behind that reminds me of this trip to Scotland about a decade ago with a couple of Calgarians, Gary and Eric, and this lovely chap from Vancouver, Barry. And we had like, I always used to arrange on these distillery tours this day of activities in the middle. And when we were in Speyside, we went to this guy, Jörg, who was a German guy who had leased this land on the hill of Ben, like near Ben Rennes, maybe on the shoulder of Ben Rennes. And you'd go there and you'd get to do archery, skeet shooting. You got to drive an Argo Cat, which is a 6-wheel drive Canadian made off-terrain vehicle. And he also added in later on this like riflery where you get to shoot this semi-automatic rifle. And I remember him telling Barry, who was first, when it came to the gun, he's like, after Barry shot the targets, he's like, all right, now Barry, aim the gun at the ground and pull the trigger as fast as you can. And Barry's like, well, why would I do that? And he said, because it's fun, Barry, because it's fun, in a thick German accent. One of my favorite moments in Scotland, a German guy telling someone to shoot the dirt because it was fun. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Not wrong.
Not wrong at all.
No,
How do we like this Ardmore?
it's good.
Mhm. It's punching above its weight for an Ardmore, I think is fair to be said.
Yeah, I gotta disagree there, but you guys do you.
Well, do you and Ian Snow, the other Ardbeg fan in the world, can
Ardmore, yeah.
Yeah.
Ardmore, right?
Yeah.
Are welcome
No,
to it.
I like Ardmore too, but I understand what you're saying, Evan. Like it's missing its signature, I think, due to this cask that it was in.
That signature being undrinkability.
I mean, no, but there are times when casks are
Yeah.
just the spirit is just dominated by a cask,
Yeah.
and you don't get
Mhm.
the signature spirit you know and love.
Mhm.
It happens. I think
true.
Evan's just missing his love in this
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
it's
My
not a
safety
bad
blanket.
whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm already on to like public pool hot tubs, by which I mean whiskey number 8, the Lagavulin.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
That's a
Oh,
good
it's got that a mix of like ozone plus way too much chlorine.
Yeah. Yeah. They just shocked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know you're going to come out there with really dry skin, but you also know that you're not going to get a communicable disease, so it's okay.
That's right. Yeah. We can use that as a note on this Islay Bullen, right? That'll sell.
I like
Yeah.
it. I wish the price was like 30% less, but I like it. I think there's some nice malt tones, some nice clean smoke. I love the salty maritime elements to it. Not a ton of fruit, kind of a little bit of like dried apple chunks and a bit of like pear. But yeah, this is really, really easy drinking.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, we've sped around this thing, but I'm not sure I've got my favorites yet. Evan, do we put this to a vote and then try to pick our favorites? What are we gonna do here next?
Yeah. I'll launch the poll. And
Oh, yeah.
Harmony, have you picked?
He did.
Okay, you start us off.
My favorites were the Isla 15, the 7-star, and I did really like the Fettercairn. I thought that was like a nice fun whiskey, and it wasn't completely coated with wine casks. So
Yeah.
that's my pick, those 3.
Nice.
Evan.
I am gonna pick the Glenturret for my favorite, followed by very closely by that Islay. And just because I think a lot of other people are gonna pick it, I'm gonna not pick the Fettercairn. I'm gonna go with the Glentauchers. Glentauchers, just even the empty glass right now is so beautifully fruity. So that was a really, really nice sherry dram for me.
Oh man,
Andrew?
I'm almost there. I'm I'm really struggling between third and fourth place here. All right, I'm gonna call it, Fettercairn, Glenturret, and, the Isla. The Isla's my third. So I think the Fettercairn for being as naked as it was in a range of darker whiskeys, showed better than I thought. I mean, the interesting thing is that Glentauchers is my number 4. Like the Tamdhu is not even in my top 4, so it's in the bottom half of my range tonight. The 7 stars, I think from a value proposition, I think is great value, even though it's got this little bit of, I don't know, like Aussie licorice on hot asphalt note right now, but
That's what Calvin's dad would have called character, Andrew.
Yeah, and that's Sammy's pick by tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun range of whiskeys tonight. But yeah, I think the Fettercairn and that Glenturret really surprised me because I don't think I've spent a lot of time getting to know that distillate, and I am interested. So
I think it's maybe one of the most mezcal-like peated distillates around right now.
is that another bingo card item? Because I
No, it
suspect
should be
is.
though.
Oh
Maybe
man,
the second round.
mezcal note's not on the bingo card. That's
I know.
There were only 25 spots, man. It was hard.
well, I mean, while we're waiting for people to finish, I could guess this, but I think I think I need to be surprised by this. So let's throw this thing up on screen and see what we've got here.
Yeah, this is
Sounds
so
good.
fun. There's so many things we could do that just naturally pop up in conversation, but Evan did a great job.
Yeah, water doesn't open. I mean, that could have been a good central square, that first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have any hand fixation tonight, so that wasn't going to happen.
You can just read them.
Jeff PT. I mean, I could have mentioned that, but I didn't. Yeah, no talk of salt for tonight. That's a good one. So
It did come up actually.
Oh, it did. It did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we somebody definitely would have been able to stamp that KWM staffer talks about refill casks, because I definitely talked about that.
And the misuse of finishing whiskey.
Yeah, I think that's got to be in there as well. Sean wasn't on there, so it doesn't work. Andrew or Kurt. I don't think we had any negative words about like Lecheg or Tobermory tonight, so we can't check that one.
Yeah.
Harmony used herself to deal with dog. Whether it was
Not
a dog
tonight.
or Tony, that definitely happened. There was a moment.
Tony's on there too.
Noah's spouse is one. It's the bottom.
Tony on there as well. Harmony used herself to deal with her spouse. Yeah.
Yes,
Andrew rants about bourbon. I mean, I'm currently in America, not by choice.
Yeah.
So I've got to watch my words on that carefully. Don't want to get.
Yeah, you don't want ice to come for you, man.
I don't. A conversation between KWM staffers dangerously close to being what would be considered relevant or educational. I think people could probably stamp that one. I mean, if it was dangerously close to being inappropriate, I don't know that we got there tonight, or did we? No, Harmony's saying no, so we didn't do that. A third curiously irrelevant question. Did we have a third curiously irrelevant question?
We do. It actually has to do with the bingo card.
But I don't think it's irrelevant because we're playing it.
All right. So what is the irrelevant question?
It was just, did you get the bingo card?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Well, I enjoyed the bingo card, and it was nowhere near as cruel as it could have been.
Oh no.
Yeah, I tried to keep it fun.
Which might not be a challenge, but it might be.
Evan, do you want submissions for the bingo card, or should they just put them in the comments on their orders in the future?
No, we should probably email
Yeah,
them to
that'll just
Evan.
infuriate Chris
I
and
know, but
Terry.
it would be so fun. Can we put that as a square?
Yeah.
Well, especially if somebody just randomly emails Chris to say, hey, I won the bingo, what's my prize?
Oh, there's
Yeah,
no
That's
prize.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
I
I
made
mean,
sure to put that on the card that there is no prize, just bragging
but
rights.
Yeah.
just her getting that question in itself
Yeah.
would, be a bit of a prize for the
What's
rest of us.
what is our poll for this
Yeah,
evening? What's
so
their
first favorite of the night, as voted by the group, the Glenturret took it with 5 votes. Tie for second place between 3 of the bottles, the Islay, the Glentauchers, and the Tamdhu. No votes for the 7 Stars and no votes for the Ardmore in the first round, surprisingly. Second round, Glentauchers took it as the favorite for the second favorite. That surprises me. I thought I was picking something nobody else would pick. The Enigma Islay again comes in second, and Fettercairn comes in third.
no
I thought for
idea?
sure more people would go for that Fettercairn.
I didn't know you guys like the smell and taste of baby vomit so much that you
Yeah.
all picked the Glentauchers. Like, that's surprising.
And for the third question, somebody got a bingo. I don't know how, but everybody else came away disappointed.
No,
Oh.
he admitted he did not because he thought I muted for
Oh.
my dog and I didn't.
Yeah.
Also, Kurt was not present with his hand fixation.
That's
So
right.
that didn't happen either, which you can't win the bingo if there's no.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's safe to say the rest of us have low levels of hand fixation compared to Kurt. So
At least not on display.
yeah.
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 Well, this was a fun tasting, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Yeah, I've only got 2 days left of vacation, so I'm gonna I'm gonna bow out. But Harmony, Kurt, thanks for being on today's tasting. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. I
Perfect.
love the fact I almost wish I didn't know until right now that there was a bingo card, because I think we would have filled out at least like 20 of 25 had I not.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said
I
anything.
got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 9.
Harmony says
Nice.
9. I think we were probably closer to like 14, but
Okay.
Trevor only got 8. Okay, Harmony might have been more correct, but you never know.
Okay. Trevor's been
could-
drinking. You can't trust him.
It could
Yeah,
happen
that's
in the
right.
future.
I
Well,
saw him.
anyway, everybody, thanks for the tasting tonight. Hope
Yeah.
you enjoyed it. Sorry you can't buy any but 2 of tonight's whiskeys, but you still can purchase those. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess the last thing, quick reminder, tomorrow, special tariff day, Canadian
Mhm.
Freedom Day whiskey release. So keep an eye out for that. And there may or may not be an Egoversary sale on Saturday. Also, keep an eye out for
What? This
that.
is the first time hearing of it. How exciting.
Yeah, it was super secret. We didn't even tell ourselves.
Surprise!
Surprise, Andrew goes on vacation and plans a sale that we get to handle while he's gone. Surprise.
No, I'll be back. I'll be back. I wouldn't
Don't.
do that. I will actually be back. Anyway,
Maybe don't.
enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.